Hi everyone, welcome back. We're just going to go over how to create some basic shapes and change the fill and create a perfect square or shape. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go over to the ellipse tool and I'm going to click and expand the tool set. I'm going to click on the rectangular tool and I am going to then go down to my fill color and I'm going to change this to black. To change it, simply double click on that color and then select a color that you like. I'm going to keep my stroke on. To create a rectangle, simply click, drag, and release. Click, drag, and release. If you would like to create a perfect square, hold Shift, click, drag, and as you can tell, my proportions are not changing. Okay? So hold Shift, click, drag, and release. And that will create a perfect square. Now, in order to change the fill color, say I have this rectangle here selected and I want to change its color. I'm going to simply click on the black swatch. I'm going to go and change it to a darker gray. There we go. And then I can deselect Command Shift A and then use the selection tool to select the larger rectangle. And now I'm going to change this larger rectangle to a lighter gray. There we go. Now, if we wanted to change just one corner of our rectangle to create an abstract shape, you can simply hit Command Shift A first to deselect your rectangle. You can go to the direct selection tool and then you can find the anchor point, as you can see here. Click on it, hold down, and drag the anchor point to create a more abstract shape. And then to deselect, Command Shift A, and then we can do this for another one. Right here, as you can see, I did not click on an anchor point but the shape itself, and it selected the whole entire shape. So simply Command Shift A to deselect, hover over, click on the anchor point, drag, and move it around. Alright, great. Now we're going to create some ellipses. So simply go back to the rectangular tool, click to expand the tool set, go to the ellipse, and simply drag and release. If you would like to create a perfect circle, Shift and drag and release. These are simple ways to create some basic shapes or abstract shapes. Now, why is this relevant? Okay, let's go over to our grid template. Here we have our grid template. And say on my grid template, I would like to create a darker background on some of my thumbnails. I'm simply going to first go over to the rectangular tool. I'm going to make sure my fill is black. Then I'm going to change also my stroke to black as well. Okay. Then I'm simply going to click, hold, and drag. And it looks like I selected the rounded rectangular tool, which I didn't want. So we're going to go back to the rectangular tool, click, expand the tool set, and click the rectangular tool. Okay? Click and drag and release. Now we have a darker background for us to draw on. To deselect, hit Command Shift A. Great. Now, if your shape is a little bit over, you can hit Command A or Control A, and you can tap it to line it up with the edge. And then with the selection tool, simply click on the anchor point and drag. This will help you line it up easier with the grid. Okay, for this that looks about okay. Now we're going to draw on the dark background. I'm going to come over to my Layers panel, and as you can see, I drew my rectangle on layer 2. Now, if you plan to do multiple dark backgrounds, I would suggest that you do this first. So for example, I'm going to draw 2 more just so I already have them pre-selected and finished. And the reason why I suggest you do this is so you're not constantly selecting them when you're trying to draw your lines. So you can then go and now lock this layer, and it won't move. It won't let you draw on it, so make sure when you lock it, you then go and create another layer. So you'll have layer 3, and this will be the layer that we will draw on. Go over to your pen tool. Let's turn off our fill. Click None, and then we're going to change our stroke to white so we can then draw over the black. Okay, and then we have our pen tool, and we're simply clicking, releasing, and clicking, clicking, releasing, and clicking, clicking, releasing, and clicking, and then escape. Alright, now we're going to draw an ellipse. So to do this, we're going to go and click on the ellipse tool, expand this tool set, and click on ellipse. Right now, because we turned off our fill, when we go to draw an ellipse, there'll be no white in the center. I would prefer to have some white in the center. But before we do this, it looks like our line is still selected. So hit Command-Shift-A to deselect, click on your fill, and then we're going to add a color. So double click, select your color, great. Now simply click and drag, click and drag. Alright, great. Now to deselect, Command-Shift-A, and we're finished. And then we're going to change our stroke back to black. So simply click, double click. I'm going to select black. And then here I'm going to turn off my fill. Great. And now I'm going to come over to one of the other panels that are not in color or not black, and I'm going to draw maybe 2 ellipses. Okay, great. Now I'm going to use the direct selection tool, and I'm going to select both of them by simply dragging my marquee. Okay, and now you're going to hit Command-C and Command-V. And as you can see, what that is I just simply copy and pasted those 2 shapes. And now I can do the same thing, Command-C, Command-V. And for PCs, it's going to be Control-C, Control-V. All right? And this is just some basic tips that will help you when you're creating your grid and your digital design.